Hi friends, welcome back with another video series, and it is about William Shakespeare MCQs. William Shakespeare life and work. So this is the part 1 of the series. I hope you will like my efforts and won't forget to like and subscribe my YouTube channel. So here is our first question. What is Shakespeare's Venus and Adonis? In the options we have a narrative poem, a tragedy, a romance, a comedy. And among the given options, the right one is option A. Venus and Adonis is a narrative poem by William Shakespeare, published in 1593. It is probably Shakespeare's first publication. The poem tells the story of Venus, the goddess of love, of her unrequited love and of her attempted seduction of Adonis, an extremely handsome young man. Question number 2. To whom did Shakespeare dedicate his first narrative poem Venus and Adonis? And in the options we have 3rd Earl of Southampton, Queen Elizabeth, James I, Ben Jonson. And the right one is option A. Shakespeare dedicated Venus and Adonis to the Henry Wriothesley, 3rd Earl of Southampton, to which many scholars believe he began a long friendship. He followed up this effort with the rape of Lucrece, a year later again with a dedicatory letter to Southampton. Question number 3. Who called Shakespeare an upstart crow beautified with our feathers? And in the options we have Thomas Kidd, George Peele, John Lilly, Robert Greene. And the right answer of this question is option D. Robert Greene was an English author, famous in his day and now, best known for a posthumous pamphlet attributed to him, Greene's Groat's Worth of Wit, bought with $1 million of repentance, widely believed to contain an attack on William Shakespeare. Question number 4. Dryden's play All for Love is based on Shakespeare's play, namely. And in the options we have The Merchant of Venice, Romeo and Juliet, Tempest, Antony and Cleopatra. And among the given options, the right one is option D. All for Love or The World Well Lost is 1677 heroic drama by John Dryden, which is now his best known and most performed play. It is a tragedy written in blank verse and is an attempt on Dryden's part to reinvigorate serious drama. It is an acknowledged imitation of Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra. Question number 5. Aldous Huxley took the hint for the title of his novel Brave New World from Shakespeare's play, namely. And in the options we have A Midsummer Night's Dream, The Tempest, Winter's Tale, Antony and Cleopatra. And the right option is B. The title Brave New World derives from Miranda's speech in William Shakespeare's The Tempest, Act 5, Scene 1. Question number 6. Shakespeare's King Lear was given a happy ending by one of the following playwrights. Identify the playwright. And in the options we have George Farquhar, Nahum Tate, Nathaniel Lee, Thomas Otway. And the right one is option B. The History of King Lear is an adaptation by Nahum Tate of William Shakespeare's King Lear. Unlike Shakespeare's tragedy, Tate's play has a happy ending, with Lear regaining his throne, Cordelia marrying Edgar, and Edgar joyfully declaring that truth and virtue shall at last succeed. Question number 7. In which play does Shakespeare attack the Puritans? And in the options we have Much Ado About Nothing, The Merchant of Venice, As You Like It, Twelfth Night. And the right option is D. Shakespeare's art tends to be ironical rather than the satirical, but there is at least one caricature in his plays aimed at the Puritans. Malvolio in Twelfth Night. In mocking Malvolio's morality and ridiculous behavior, Shakespeare wanted to denounce Puritan sober society in early modern England. Question number 8. About who was it said? Age cannot wither her, nor custom still her infinite variety. And in the options we have Cleopatra, Miranda, Desdemona, Cordelia. And the right option is A. A sentence from the play Antony and Cleopatra by William Shakespeare. A friend of Mark Antony says that Cleopatra is overwhelmingly attractive to men, not so much because of her beauty, is because of her fascinating unpredictability and range of moods. Question number 9. How many times suicide occurs in Shakespeare's plays? And in the options we have 7, 9, 11, 13. And the right option is D. Scholars have argued for 13 explicit suicides in Shakespeare's plays, with more possible suicides where a character's death is not detailed and the audience is left to interpret the death on its own. So the 13 is the right answer. Question number 10. Who said Shakespeare has only heroines and no heroes? And in the options we have Matthew Arnold, Dr. Johnson, Sidney, Ruskin. And the right answer of this question is option D, Ruskin. So that's all for today. Till next video, take good care of yourself. Allah Hafiz. Hi friends, welcome back with our video series William Shakespeare MCQs, William Shakespeare Life and Work. So this is the part 2 of the series. I hope you will like my little effort and will not forget to like and subscribe my YouTube channel. So here is our first question. The famous quote of William Shakespeare, "The first thing we do, let's kill all the lawyers," has been taken from. And in the options we have The Merry Wives of Windsor, Othello, The Moor of Venice, Pericles, Prince of Tyre, King Henry VI, Part 2. And among the given options, the right one is option D. Let's kill all the lawyers is a line from William Shakespeare's Henry VI, Part 2, Act 4, Scene 2. It is among Shakespeare's most famous line as well as one of his most controversial. Shakespeare may be making a joke when character Dick the Butcher suggests one of the ways the band of pretenders to the throne can improve the country is to kill all the lawyers. Question number 2. Who has written the critical book Characters of Shakespeare's Plays? And in the options we have Matthew Arnold, S.T. Coleridge, William Hazlitt, Addison. So the right answer of this question is option C. Characters of Shakespeare's Plays is an 1817 book of criticism of Shakespeare's plays, written by early 19th century English essayist and literary critic William Hazlitt, composed in reaction to the new classical approach to Shakespeare's plays typified by Samuel Johnson. Question number 3. The famous line, "My Sally days when I was green in judgment," has been taken from. And in the options we have Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, The Winter's Tale, The Merry Wives of Windsor, Antony and Cleopatra. And the right one is option D. The phrase was coined in Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra in 1606. In the speech at the end of Act 1, in which Cleopatra is regretting her youthful dalliances with Julius Caesar, she says, "My salad days when I was green in judgment, cold in blood to say as I said then." Question number 4. Sweet are the uses of adversity. This line has been taken from. And in the options we have Romeo and Juliet, Twelfth Night, Hamlet, As You Like It. And among the given options, the right one is option D. Sweet are the uses of adversity comes from the Shakespeare's play As You Like It. The character Duke Senior states this in Act 2, Scene 1. Duke Senior is pointing out the beauty that comes from adversity, and through this opportunity to get away from the court, he is finding solace in nature. Question number 5. Friality, thy name is a woman. In which play does this line occur? And in the options we have Othello, Hamlet, King Lear, Macbeth. So the right answer of this question is option B. Hamlet utters this famous phrase in Act 1, Scene 2, In fact, he is recalling the beautiful memories of his mother and deceased father. He mourns the death of his father and changing nature of women, referring to his mother, as she has married his uncle Claudius. He says, "Frailty, thy name is a woman." By woman refers to Gertrude, who is morally weak because she has betrayed her husband by marrying his brother Claudius just 1 month after her husband's death. Question number 6. There is a divinity that shapes our ends. This line has been taken from, and in the options we have Macbeth, Hamlet, King Lear, none of these. And the right one is option B. In stating that there is divinity that shapes our ends, Hamlet means that God is in control of what happens to us, guiding us even we try to forge our own paths through life. Hamlet makes this statement to Horatio, who has long been his trusted confidant. Question number 7. Which character of William Shakespeare says this line? Life is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. And in the options we have Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, Macbeth. And among the given options, the right one is option D. Macbeth's analogy portrays human existence as futile, trivial, and transient. He goes on to compare man's life to a tale told by an idiot that is chaotic and meaningless. Essentially, Macbeth is expressing his dark view on life, which he believes is futile, meaningless, and temporary. Question number 8. Who said that Shakespeare knew small Latin and less Greek? And in the options we have Ben Jonson, Spencer, Marlowe, Sidney. And the right one is option A, Ben Jonson. Question number 9. Who is the author of the critical work Shakespeare's Sonnets Reconsidered? And in the options we have W.H. Auden, Samuel Butler, Charles Lamb, E.M. Forster. And the right one is option B, Samuel Butler. Question number 10. Name the play in which the hero dies at the end of the 4th act, but the play continues to the 5th act. And in the options we have Antony and Cleopatra, Othello, Macbeth, none of these. And the right one is option A, Antony and Cleopatra. So that's all for today. Till next video, take good care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.